Now I've forgotten my notes. Okay, here we go. Hi, and welcome to The Truth About Fantasy Football, as presented by the GruelingTruth.net. We're brought to you by Gridiron Mo, producers of an interesting interactive football game app which pits you against other football fans across the country in predicting the next play within a live NFL game. Think you're smarter than the average fan? Check out for yourself at Gridiron Mo at gridironmo.com or through this website, thegruelingtruth.net. My name is Oz Davis. I am substituting once again. Second week in a row, I get slotted into your fantasy podcast lineup as the host for Matt Andrew Scavage, who's still on the IR. He is sick. Hopefully he's not sick of doing the show. We've got our two other regulars here. Joining me this week, of course, is LaDonna Williams. She's a writer at Rivalry Sports over there at sportsblog.com. And LaDonna, you also have a show, don't you? I know it's not a Grueling Truth show, but you can go ahead and plug it.
Yes, we just started a show last week, and it's called Rivalry Sports. And it's going to be every Tuesday afternoon.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Now, is that just about the world of sports, or is that fantasy football, or what?
It's everything. I come on and speak about the Cowboys, of course, and fantasy football. Today we had somebody talking about the Ward fight because he was actually at the match. One of our writers was actually at the match this weekend. I was able to talk about the Cowboys because I was actually at the game on Sunday with my fiance. And then we had somebody talk about the NFC East, like in general. So every week it's been changing up of who's been on there. I'm kind of faithfully staying on there just for the moment because I talk about fantasy. Everybody needs to know about fantasy.
It certainly seems like everybody needs to know. And joining LaDonna and I this week, as always, is the co-host of the Titletown Huddle Weekly Green Bay Packers show here at the GruelingTruth.net and a participant on the NFL and college football pick'em shows right here, Aaron Zepnick. Aaron, how are you doing this week?
Do you want the truth or do you want me to lie to you?
I want the grueling truth.
The grueling truth is, Oz, I'm pretty shitty.
Oh! What's the matter, Aaron? Let us counsel you. What is
just not a good week.
Yep. Well, me too. But be heartened. It's a short week. So
my Packers are on a 4-game losing streak. I went 0-3 in fantasy for the first time all year. And, and I'm having a rough week at work and other aspects. But I'd just like to say I'm praying for a young man that's battling kidney transplant right now, and my heart's out to the family and of Jordan Went. I got to meet the kid. I got the privilege of being introduced to the kid last year through my semi-pro football ties, and it's a struggle. They're in the Children's Hospital at UW-Madison right now, and that's weighing heavily right now with Thanksgiving and the holidays and stuff. I can't imagine what they're going through. So.
Wow, yeah, no joke.
Yeah. Prayers out to him and his family.
I guess when you are thankful this Thanksgiving Day, you can be thankful for your health. I was going to ask about bragging, trying to let's keep it on the fantasy football topic here. Let's get back to that. Who's got bragging rights this week? Well, Aaron just told us about his rather unfortunate 0-3 washout. However, I can't feel bad about one loss of his, which was in the Grueling Truth League. I noticed your stranglehold isn't quite as tight on this league as it once was, Aaron.
You know who beat me this week, right?
Who beat you this week? Your brother, right?
No, my son. For the second time this year,
That's
points are left.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
no.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it was like less than a point, wasn't it?
I think it was 1.8.
Yeah, they were like decimal points.
Last time was like 0.8. So, yeah, he's 17. He'll be looking for a place to live real shortly.
Oh, that's so messed up. You can come to Texas. We'll
you can put him up. Well, LaDonna, you had a pretty good week this week.
Yes, I did. I went 3-1 3 out of 4.
Okay.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
after going 4-0 last week, what happened? Which team lost? What happened? How did you lose a game?
That team decided not to show up. This team is in a 14-man league, which I'm going to say this right now. If I would have known it was 14 men, I probably would have backed out because I didn't do it last year. And I came back thinking, okay, they're not going to have 14 people. Yeah, they had 14 people. So this week, because Sanu was on a bye, he was like my big deal. My running back, my other running back yelled in, decided to only have 16 yards. Marvin Jones decided he only wanted to have 15 yards. Basically, all my players decided not to show up, but Lamar Miller and Hightower. Everybody else, they were non-existent.
Right. Goose eggs.
Non-existent. But, it's not a money league, so I'm not that upset that I'm losing in it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I only have the 2 teams. My 2 teams were 2-0. It's great. It's just like real football. Now that we're basically mathematically eliminated in both leagues, my players are playing great. All the pressure's off. They're okay. Let's talk some studs and duds. LaDonna, I'm gonna give you the lead on this one as well. Who did you like? Who did you dislike this week? Well, you already gave us a couple of likes.
One of my likes is Des Bryant, just because I was there at the game. 80 yards, 2 TDs. One was in the end zone, like right in front of me. I was happy. Of course, David Johnson. He was like the true MVP of my Yahoo League this week. 57 receiving, 103 rushing with 2 TDs. I don't know. I keep forgetting how the guy has it set up, but he ended up with 40 points for me. I don't ask questions. I just go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Robert Kelly was another one, 137 yards, 3 TDs. I know a lot of people in my fantasy group were commenting about how great he did. Let's see. Cook. He actually had 105 yards. I didn't expect to say his name so soon because I know he's been coming off an injury, but 105 yards and a touchdown. Pierre Garçon, 116 yards and a touchdown. Colin Kaepernick, he wasn't too bad because I remember saying last week, go get Colin Kaepernick. Go get Colin. I think this is going to be a great game for him. And he actually didn't have that bad a game. I know he had, I'm trying to look for he had 206 passing yards, 32 rushing, and 2 passing TDs. So he didn't have that horrible of a game if you just needed a QB because your QB was on a bye.
Well, Kaepernick ever since he came back has been one of these guys whose fantasy numbers are better than his real numbers, and also he hasn't turned it over a lot. Despite a really crummy offensive line and not too many options to pass to, he doesn't throw that many picks. He doesn't make too many stupid mistakes with the ball. So, he's a solid, if not exactly well above average fill-in option at quarterback, I think, in fantasy. Okay, who else you got?
And then I guess I don't know if my fiance played him, but Julian Edelman decided to finally show up this week, 77 yards, 12 rushing, and a TD. Mm-hmm. And then Kirk Cousins has went at it again. He had 375 passing yards, 4 rushing yards, and 3 passing TDs. We play them Thursday, and I'm just curious on how this game is going to happen.
Yeah, you should be. You should be curious.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm very curious.
Aaron, what do you got? Who did you like this week? Who do you want to give props to?
Dak Prescott had a pretty big game for my son, 31.65 in the flea flicker format. Kirk Cousins blew up my Packers. Apparently, not a prerequisite to make sure you can actually not let a guy get behind you 3 times in a game. So, defensive backs, I don't understand how that happens 3 times in a game. But Jamison Crowder, another big night. Jordan Reed had a decent game. Martellus Bennett was a dud, I think, this week. I don't recall seeing.
Yeah,
much
he was.
Yes, in terms of fantasy, he had a heck of a game. He had a heck of a game, but all of it off the stat sheet. So I think 3 catches.
I know he's a guy that's been up and down all year. With Gronk,
he had 14 receiving yards.
14. Wow.
Yeah.
With Gronk out, I think we expected much more from him. Jack Doyle, tight end, had 1 point for me. Pretty hum-ho performance. If you were one of the people that couldn't decide on C.J. Precise or Thomas Rawls,
I said Precise.
Yeah, and he had a 75-yard touchdown run, but Rawls ended up not having a bad game.
Because Precise went down.
Right.
That was it. Killing my fantasy.
Travis Kelce had 7. Minnesota's defense, I think we touched on, they had 30 points in the flea flicker format.
They killed it.
Duds, I would say somebody else had a bad week too, and I wanted to touch on him, and now I forget who it was. Dang it.
Big Ben?
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger. Terrible week against
Now, why are you picking on the Steelers some more? Come on.
Because he was my starting QB this week because Matt Ryan was on the bench. And somehow I still won. But, yes, we are going to talk about Big Ben.
Yeah, Big Ben had a week. Yeah, I think he had 10.4 or something in the flea flicker format.
Not enough.
Yeah, it was bad. I think in my league, because he has, like I told you, the guy has something crazy set up. So I think he got a little bit more than last week. I mean, a little bit more than 10 points. But it was still, he got me 18. And he was projected 47.
Yeah, T.Y. Hilton had another decent game, 15 points in a standard format. Bus, I think we talked about Cameron Meredith a couple of times on this show.
Sure.
Yeah.
He had 4 points, nothing really big.
The Bears are in zombie mode. Forget it. I mean, that's it. That's it. They're not going to get any stats. They're not going to score any points. They're not going to win any game.
Well, they might because what's his name is down. Cutler's gone.
Cutler's
so you never know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's out.
So he's
out.
They might resurrect themselves from resurrection. They might not be the
exactly
dead anymore. Okay. All right. I take it back.
We'll talk about it next week.
But in that game, they were the zombies. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. Right. I'll let Matt deal with it. Aaron, you got more?
Yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah.
You bring a lot to the table.
I really wanted to talk about Stardom and Sid'em for this week. Le'Veon Bell had another nice week too.
Okay, let me get in some studs and duds, and we'll go right into start and sit. How about Steve Smith Sr.? Huh?
That little pit bull. Can we not talk about it and say we did?
Yeah. Oh no, we must talk about it. We must. This is one of the reasons why I love fantasy sports or playing, video game sports like Madden or whatever, or just talking about sports is I get to call a guy like Steve Smith old. I mean, I've got like a good 15 years on this guy, but he's old. He's old, right? And the old guy, this is his third double-digit game in 3 weeks. This is fantastic, and he really crushed it this week. The old guy.
I wasn't even mad. I couldn't even be mad. Like, how can you be mad that it's him, out of all the people to be scoring against your team. And he broke a record on us. Yes, I understand. I wasn't even mad. It's Steve Smith.
Yeah. He's been around since the 1980s, right? So you got to respect him. But let's see. Also, I had Dak Prescott on the list, but basically all you can say about this guy, 3 touchdowns, 301 yards, no interceptions, 26 points in PPR league. I just wonder how much better this guy can get. I mean, I can't believe he's a rookie at this point. And the other one I wanted to mention is Rashad Jennings of the Giants. Finally had a good week. We figured going into this season that one of the problems with playing the Giants in fantasy was going to be spreading out these fantasy points. Well, Jennings finally paid off. 129 all-purpose yards, 5 catches. It was good for 18.9 points in Flea Flicker. So shout out to Jennings.
Yeah, and they were playing the Bears, so I wouldn't count on seeing that duplicated.
No, of course not.
Another couple of guys, Sterling Shepard and Eric Ebron, both had good games as
well.
Yeah,
I picked up Shepard because of our conversation last week. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I picked up Ebron because he was playing Jacksonville, and I'm glad you brought up Eric Ebron because I got my dud story of the week, which is Golden Tate, who I needed as an emergency start at the flex. Okay, so amazing statistics on this guy. 3 catches for 27 yards plus 1 quote-unquote rush. So basically a pass thrown.
Wasn't it negative yards?
Yeah, for -6, not just negative yards, -6, and a fumble. And so he totaled, this was awesome, he totaled in Flea Flicker 0.1. It's just make it 0. Just make it 0. Don't even give me the 0.1. I don't want it. So that was
because I had him in, so I understand your pain.
Oh man, no. Well, for most of the game, he had a negative score. He only got to the positive. He only got to 0 in the fourth quarter. It was sick. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
If you get to a tiebreaker and that 0.1 gets you the playoffs, I'm going to say, you can't be in the playoffs because you didn't want the 0.1.
That is true.
Actually,
that's true.
I found out, I looked at it again today, and because of my wins recently, I've snuck into 6th place. So I can actually make the playoffs. I just can't have a home game, or I can't I can't get a bye. So
I'm the same way. The same way.
I could still sneak in, Aaron, and I'd be playing you in the second round.
I would love to see that. You're the only
one. That
would
be awesome.
To beat me, and I want to avenge that loss.
Yeah, I'm the only non-Zepnick to beat my Balzac Ertz this year. All right, let's talk some start sit. Go for it, Aaron. You're eager to go.
Okay, stardom. Let's go with Philly first. Carson Wentz against the banged-up Packers defense. Blake Martinez is now out multiple games with an MCL sprain. Whoever plays running back for Philly, I don't know what Ryan Matthews and Darren Sproles' status is. But
Matthews is day-to-day, and Sproles is starting.
Okay,
so Sproles is going to play?
Yeah.
So there's who you start for a running back, especially Sproles, because he creates matchup problems. With Martinez and Ryan down for the Packers, they have no linebackers that can cover. Joe Thomas can't cover. Bradford can't cover. So Sproles is running.
Isn't Smallwood a good flyer? Isn't Smallwood a good flyer? He's had a couple of good games there.
Yeah.
I think he'll get the ball if Matthews is down.
If Matthews is down, Smallwood will be a guy that will take 10 to 12 carries away from Sproles, but Sproles creates the matchup problem. We don't have a linebacker 50 enough to cover him, and if you try to cover him with a safety, I fear that you're not going to have the help over the top, although maybe they'll play 3 safeties, and we played a lot of nickel and dime on Sunday night, and it didn't matter. So,
yeah.
I think they're going to see if they can dress coaches up this week.
Hey, I'm willing to go if they pay me right.
Nice.
Yeah, you could probably play better corner as long as you don't let anyone behind you.
Hey, I'm there. I might get a few flags, but I'm willing to take a shot for the right price.
Start 'em, sit 'em. Let's go with how about Jordan Matthews? If I have this guy on one of my teams, and let me just say that I didn't like this matchup earlier in the year when I looked at it. You know, a couple weeks ago, I'm thinking, oh, he's got some tough defenses coming up here. Not anymore. I'm starting Jordan Matthews. Jay Ajayi playing against San Francisco.
Sure.
Him.
Yeah.
I would suspect he'd have a big week. Another guy to start would be Jarvis Landry. I think Jarvis Landry will have a big game. While we're talking about him, Colin Kaepernick. If you need another start, go ahead and start him. Who else? Let's see. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott are must-starts.
And no-brainers.
Sit Doug Martin against Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I agree with that one.
I would sit Devontae Adams against Philadelphia. Kind of a non-factor against Washington. Start Terrence West. This is a big one. Cincinnati's reeling. They just lost Giovanni Bernard for the year. And A.J. Green is dealt.
And A.J. Green.
He's out for this week for sure, and possibly more. He's got a strained hamstring, they're calling it now. At first it was a hamstring tear, and it's not as serious as they first thought, is what I'm hearing. So sit A.J. Green. LaShawn McCoy, sit him. Start Mike Gillislee as backup. Just wanted to look. I'm missing some here, but you guys can go ahead and feel free to jump in and add.
Yeah, sure.
I'm very intrigued with this start 'em, sit 'em list, because there were some people on there I didn't expect you to say. I agree with, but I didn't expect you to say it. A couple other sit-ems would be if you're a wide receiver and your name's Golden Tate and Marvin Jones, just bench them. Don't play them this week. They're playing the Vikings. I understand it's the Vikings, but it is a division rival. No. I got yelled at this afternoon. Well, not really yelled at, but one of my listeners from my other show was not too happy on how I was on Mark Ingram. I told him to Google because it's Mark Ingram. He's a hit or miss. He's not that great. He was doing okay last week until he got hurt, and I haven't gotten an update last week. Still haven't gotten an update on his status this week. So if he is playing, I would bench him and play Timothy Hightower, just because you don't know how healthy he's going to be. They're playing the Rams, but at this rate, the Rams defense on run defense is actually pretty steady, so I'm not for sure on playing him either. But if you're going to have to, pick your poison, you need somebody to play him. Another sit, I just don't see it. People are like, why? And I have been reading reports of start is Todd Gurley. I understand it's playing the Saints, but I've lost hope. So maybe if I bash him, he'll play good. That's, I'm trying to do reverse psychology in some kind of way.
Reverse psychology into the ether. Do you think Todd Gurley listens to this show?
You never know. You never know.
That'd be awesome.
If I get an email saying, yes, I heard you bash me.
Tell that Oz guy he's all right.
I had a couple other starts. I found my other notes here.
Okay.
Jerick McKinnon on Thanksgiving Day against the Lions. I think he's going to have a bigger a bigger role this week. I think he's more of a matchup issue than Asiata, if Asiata's even. The other
Asiata
one,
is, from what I heard.
This might surprise you, but Brandon LaFell.
What?
Brandon LaFell is going to be the number one option for that offense. He's going to get targeted about 15 to 20 times. I think he's a spot start this week if you're looking for a flex or a wide receiver 3 to play.
I was going to talk about this in waiver wire. Tyler Boyd is also out there. I mean, Tyler Boyd is out there in 95% of flea flicker leagues, and LaFell is out there in 89% of flea flicker leagues. But come on, the Bengals right now, you really want to run with any of those guys? I suppose you can go with these guys, but I will talk waiver wire, and there's a lot more options at wide receiver.
And let me explain something here. The Bengals are probably going to be down, which means they're going to be throwing, which means the other team might play softer coverage, and if he gets a bunch of these little dump-off, 10-yard comeback routes, he could have a big game. And Brandon LaFell is not a bad receiver. The other guy I wanted to talk about real quick and start him is Will Tye, the tight end from the Giants. This might surprise you guys. Since their Week 8 bye, Will Tye has had a span of 3 games. He's had 7, 8, and 5 targets. That's 20 targets in 3 games. That's an average of about 7 per game. And he's been on the field for 76% of the Giants' snaps. They are starting to get him more involved, which I think is why their offense is getting a little bit better. It's somebody that is not Shepard or Beckham.
See, that's a lot more. Oh, go ahead.
But they're playing the Browns. They're playing the Browns this week, so
that's what I'm saying.
I don't think.
Start them.
Yeah, start them. I don't think there's too many. If you're a wide receiver, if you have a wide receiver for them, I think you should play them. Cruz, Odell.
I got to say, that's a heck of a lot more scintillating pick than Brandon LaFell, Aaron. I just say no to Brandon LaFell, I think.
Well, who does Cincinnati play this week, though?
Who does Cincinnati get? Don't they get Baltimore? No way. Here, I got the.
No.
Here. They've got. They've got. No, this is compelling stuff here. Okay, who do they have?
I'm looking.
Yeah, exactly. At Baltimore.
Yeah, it is at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore's giving up.
I'm crazy.
Baltimore's given up the 12 default points to wide receivers, which is ranked 30th in the league for fantasy points on Flea Flicker.
This is true.
So,
LaFell.
So they got LaFell and who else? But actually, now that you're talking about it,
I think Boyd.
It's LaFell and Boyd, yeah.
Yeah, then that's not so bad that should now you bring it up and.
Yeah. I am not impressed. I gotta say.
Rashad Jennings would be another one to start this week against Cleveland.
Really? Oh, great! Thanks. That.
No, see, no. He was a one-hit wonder. He's a one-hit wonder. I don't think.
Are you kidding me? They're playing Cleveland.
But Cleveland.
Yeah, they're playing Cleveland, but I still got to root for hope that Cleveland's going to do something for me. The Packers already messed up for me this week. I got to pray for somebody to beat one of my rivals. Go Cleveland.
It's not going to be Cleveland.
It's not going to be Cleveland. It's not.
Look,
Cleveland's going to win a game.
Take care of business against Washington, but the Giants are going to keep winning. The Giants are looking scary. They're going to. That's a playoff team, so they're not going away. But in any case,
but I would definitely say start Melvin Gordon this week against they're playing at Houston. That's a must start. Yeah, but some people. I think I had a couple people say they gave up on him like early, and I'm like, why?
No, because last year.
I guess that's why.
Actually, for your listeners that comment on all your stuff on there, I know we had a discussion with a gentleman last week, and I use that term loosely. There's just some guys you have to start. You know what I mean? Like Julio Jones, Tom Brady. Melvin Gordon, Ezekiel Elliott. Like, you're never going to not start them. And I saw a post on there that said, I sit whoever's playing my team. Like, that is the most ridiculous logic I've ever heard in my life. If you're going to win fantasy football games,
well, yeah,
then you don't want to win. You shouldn't even be playing.
Yeah,
no, because it's like, oh, I play the Bengals this week, and I'm the Saints, and I'm a Saints fan, so I'm not going to start AJ Green because that's like, you know, doubly hurting yourself. Like, okay, if your team gets beat and he goes off and he's on your bench, you're going to be kicking yourself and licking your wounds from the loss.
I'm trying to think that I think I had Ben. I had Big Ben in when they played us. When he had that.
I actually play fantasy players against the Packers because I'm like, okay, if they go off, at least I have a second prize. If they go off and we still win, it's like doubly good. But if the Packers lose and the guy that I'm, hoping does well, but we still, beat them, if the Packers lose, at least I have some saving grace. My fantasy team might win.
No, this is the story I always tell. The most devoted fan of any club I've ever known personally is my brother. And here's the story I always tell. He played he lives and dies for the Boston Celtics, okay, ever since Larry Bird, right? And I've always been a Lakers fan ever since Magic Johnson, right? So he's always been a Celtics guy, and he played fantasy basketball way back in the day when it was a new thing. And he literally quit in the first season because he couldn't stand, playing guys on his team who were going up against the Celtics. He's never played fantasy basketball. He's never played fantasy basketball since. Well, I mean, look, he's being true. Right? He's being true. If you're that kind of person who can't stand it when your team loses, but yet, you've got to celebrate the victory of your fantasy team, okay, just don't play. Just don't play. And that was what my brother did. I mean, he is a truly devoted fan.
Yeah, I'm truly devoted on winning and getting money. So when I have money involved, so if I have to play a player that's playing against my team, so be it. Because I think the week that we played the Packers, I kept Aaron Rodgers in. I was not benching him. That's the problem. Was it me? Was it me?
Rodgers on your team anymore. Get rid of him.
Okay. Because he was my quarterback last year too, and he did just fine. So maybe you should talk about Aaron. He was doing great last year. What happened?
No, he didn't.
What?
He looked crap last year too.
I don't blame me. I blame the girlfriend. Blame the girlfriend. Because that's what, the Cowboys fans did with Jessica Simpson. So just blame the girlfriend.
And Carrie Underwood, I know.
Just blame them. Blame the girls.
Well, Giselle is working out well for the Patriots fans. So she's okay. Okay, so we're going to hit some time constraints pretty soon. So let's go to the waiver wire here. I've just got a few recommendations that we haven't already spoken about. We can also talk some defenses. We already talked about Smallwood. I mean, I think he's a decent play. Look, he's never been a huge numbers guy, even though he's been getting a lot more time lately. But look, last week he had 4 catches and 79 all-purpose yards. He had some running yards as well. Last week he had 70 yards. The injuries on the Eagles, this guy is viable. He's not going to get a lot of touches, but he could score a touchdown. So, touchdown dependent. I mean, he's owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues. So if you want to take a flyer, here's your guy. Let's see. Okay, we talked about Boyd and LaFell, but I got some better options for you. There's kind of an interesting choice here. What about Dorial Green-Beckham? He's going for the Eagles this week, and in the past 5 games, he's been getting 5 targets. he's been getting, 50 yards or so, and he's got a couple of touchdowns in that span. So this might be a decent pickup. But the one that I like, and this was a last-minute pickup that really paid off for me last week, was Tajae Sharp for Tennessee. Now, of course, he's playing on Tennessee. Yes. Yeah, he's playing on Tennessee, so he's one weapon of many out there, but he was one of the few bright spots in that, shellacking last week. He had 7 targets last week. He had 68 yards receiving. He had 1 touchdown. He's got touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. He's on the upswing, I think, in his rookie year after a very he had a high attention start. He was getting 11 targets in game 1, but kind of petered out for a little while, and I think now he's back. 13 points per game in a PPR league in the last 3 weeks. Might be a decent pickup there at wide receiver or at flex. I enjoyed it. Like I say, I enjoyed him last week as a last-minute addition. Defenses. Well, of course, there's a lot of the obvious choices, but I'm also liking the Saints defense against the Rams this week. The Saints is not a big fantasy point-scoring defense, but the Rams. For the same reason you're going the Dolphins defense against the 49ers. But I think here's an interesting choice for you. This one's a bit off the beaten path, and I think you'll easily pick them up off waivers. What about Oakland defense at home against Carolina, who's 4th worst in – actually, no, they're tied for 3rd worst in turnovers. Raiders defense?
Who? Raiders?
Yeah. I'm thinking of the Raiders defense this week.
But I had them starting – but I had them as a start last week. Against yesterday. I told my fans to start them. People have been sleeping on the Raiders.
What did they end up with in fantasy points? What did they end up in fantasy points?
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out which team. I know I have them on.
They look pretty good, even statistically, in the second half. Just first half wasn't so great for them.
Let's see. I have them on my other pay league, and they ended up with 5 points for me, but they did get an interception, a fumble recovery, but they had the 20 points against them. They were looking good if that didn't have that 20 points against them.
Yeah. Okay. Aaron, you got others? You got ads? You got defenses you're looking at this week?
The Saints defense at home.
Yeah. Against the Rams? Yeah.
The Rams and Jared Goff.
Yep. It pains me to admit.
In the Dome, I know he played against Miami. At home, a little bit different. Going to his first road game. Mm-hmm. I think the Saints defense would be a nice spot start for somebody that is looking for help this week.
Yep, that's going to be a good pickup off the waiver wire, I think, for his streaming defense. LaDonna, you got anybody else that we haven't mentioned?
Let's see. You said Sharp. Let's see. Kevin Dixon, even though you said Terrence West is going to remain a starter, of course, but I think Kevin Dixon will be a great backup because even last week they were even saying West was going to start, but Dixon was going to get majority of the snaps, and I heard that was the rumor again this week. So if you don't have Dixon, get him. Go, and like you said, Gillespie. I'm going to ruin this kid's name, Mike Gillespie, which is McCoy's backup. Yeah, I'm just going to the backup of the backup of Jeremy Hill and Bernard is Rex Burkhead. He is not owned.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywhere.
Owned in 0% all leagues.
Anywhere. So if you are desperate,
I'll give you $5. I'll send it out the mail right now. You can tell me without looking it up or help from Oz where he went to college.
Burkhead. I have no clue. He went to where?
Nebraska. Cornhuskers.
Oh, he's a Cornhusker. Well, I was going to say, you give me $5 to see if I can start him and see if I can win. That might be a possibility.
Exactly.
that one league that only people that showed up was my running backs, and then that was it, and it's a 14-man league, it might work out. This relationship that me and him might have might actually.
Well, that's the kind of player that you sometimes have to start in the 14-team league, right? I mean, who knows?
It is.
You're going to pick him up and start him when he gets 2 touchdowns.
Hey, I'm going for it. It just been confirmed. Waiver Wire Pickup. Me and Rex. It's going down.
Burkhead.
And then you're going to change your team name now to Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yep.
Hey, I like that name.
Don't ask for help on spelling it.
Google.
Rex Burkhead is a great name. That's either
I like the name.
That's either a football player or a Tarantino hero. Absolutely. Rex Burkhead. Yeah.
Yes, but I guess is Sammy Watkins coming back this week? Or is he done?
I don't think.
Okay.
So. I don't think he's coming back this week. He will be back before the end of this season.
Yeah, because I keep forgetting that he plays still, and then I just scrolled past his name because that's how long he's been hurt. We said Tajae Sharp. We said Dorial Green-Beckham. Trying to think of anybody else. That kid that I don't want to mess his name up either, CJ Fedorowicz. Yeah. Fedorowicz. Pick him up. I told people to pick him up this week. I don't know if people listened to me, but he had 6 receptions, 10 targets, 6 receptions, and 82 yards against the Raiders. I think he is going to be great against San Diego. That's one of my tight end sleepers. People are sleeping on this poor kid.
Well, it's because of his quarterback. People are shaky on taking any target from a quarterback that's going to throw for 100 yards or less a game. The Texans are a tough sell. That's the problem with Fedorowicz. He might be awesome next year when they get Tony Romo in there, right?
I don't know. There's another guy that I was going to talk about picking up, but after touting the Saints' defense and the possibilities there of a big game out of their defense, what about Kenny Britt?
Well, yeah, but Britt has become a viable option. I mean, he's a guy that's broken 100 yards several times this season receiving. I mean, he is the option now. He's tall. He's got that reach. He gets a lot of targets because of it. But again, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. Look, the Rams' offense has scored 2 touchdowns in the past 4 games. And the only touchdown they've scored in the past 3 games was Gurley's thing last week. I mean, they're just not putting it in the end zone.
Britt gets to show you what a great defense can do for you, because Cleveland's offense has outscored the Rams' offense, but they cannot stop a lead.
Well, yeah, except here's the thing. We should save this for the NFL Pick'em show later, but here's the thing is that, like, last week, that game was up to the defense, and they lost it. Now, in fantasy points, they had a pretty good week, but they lost the game. They had to make those stops in the fourth quarter, and they did not.
Here's the thing, though, Oz, when you're put on the field that much, and your offense...
Okay, yep. I've been saying
eventually you get worn down. Eventually you will give up touchdowns. You give the other team that many more offensive possessions, odds are against you. I don't care how good your defense is.
Yep, it's just numbers. But again, it doesn't matter what you've been through. Sometimes you have to play in that final minute. You just have to make that last stop. You have to find it from somewhere. And it sucks that they're on the field 75% of the game. But in any case, we're far afield from fantasy football. We're running out of time. So let me sign it off. You got any last words for us, Aaron? Any last words of wisdom?
Thanks for picking me up, you two. I started off the show kind of glum and feeling, as I said, crappy. And now I feel much better. Just getting to talk some football and getting back to reality sure helps.
Yeah, well, yeah, try and enjoy your weekend. Best of luck to you in everything that's troubling you.
I'm going hunting for the first time ever on Friday with my father-in-law, so it'll be very enjoyable.
Huh.
So that's another reason this will be probably really long.
I'm waiting to hear that story, how that comes back. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm hoping I can get a deer. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week it'll be the fantasy football and buck hunting show.
Yeah. Don't go to sleep like my cousin does, because every year she goes with her dad. There's pictures of her on Facebook knocked out.
No, I won't be sleeping.
So, yeah.
Trust me.
Don't go to sleep. I don't know how she does it, but she does it every year.
Nice. All right, LaDonna, what do you want to leave us with?
Let's see. I got to do a bold prediction. So, because I'm doing it, so I'm trying to figure out my bold prediction. And let's see, my bold prediction. No, I think I'm going to do yardage. I'm not even going to do, because I would love that. Don't get me wrong, because it's a Monday night game. Let's see. I was going to choose that, but then I don't want to jinx you guys. So I'm going to say that the Raiders, even though they're going to be in Oakland, actually I'm not even going to do that one either, because I like that one, but I want to do something. I don't want to jinx that one either. I don't want to jinx. The Niners are going to beat the Dolphins, and the Niners, and
wow,
there we go. Colin Kaepernick is going to have a 300-yard game, 2 TDs.
Wow.
Bold prediction.
Okay. All right.
Bold.
That is bold, and that would certainly change the dynamic of the Miami Dolphins season real quick, because they've been hot. They've been hot.
Yeah.
And with the Chiefs sort of cooling off and looking at a very difficult schedule, Miami could well sneak into the playoffs during the AFC, but not if they lose to Kaepernick and the 49ers, per LaDonna's bold prediction.
Hey, you never know. My bold prediction didn't come true last week, but they didn't. It was the Browns. You know, even though their players didn't have that bad of a game, poor Cody Kessler, got hurt. Go Niners.
I can't share that sentiment. Get your
second win. I think the Rams, and I think your Rams are going to win. So,
wow.
I think your Rams are going to beat the Saints at home. Bold predictions. Bold.
That is
I'm really bold this week.
I like it. Okay, well, I can't. That will not be topped on this show, so I am definitely going to sign it off here. This is Oz Davis. I'm signing off for my co-hosts, LaDonna Williams and Aaron Zepnick, here on the Grueling Truth About Fantasy Football Weekly show. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Come back, Matt. All is forgiven.